Now let's move on to a very important part of this chapter, the Starling forces. Beta, this is very important. You're going to be asked repeatedly what are Starling forces. You'll be asked to calculate them. This question is often asked in your exams, and it is very important. And this forms the basis of the function of kidney and also the circulatory system. So it is very important, and you must pay special attention to it, and you will also be asked questions from this topic in your tests and your exams. So let's start with Starling forces. What are Starling forces? Basically, these are the forces which act on a capillary wall, and they determine the movement of fluid and the direction of the movement of fluid. स्टार्लिंग फोर्सेस वो फोर्सेस हैं जो डिटर्मिन करेंगी कि क्या कैपिलरी में से फ्लूइड बाहर आएगा या वापस रीअब्जॉर्ब होगा. सो देर आर टू फोर्सेस एट प्ले हेयर, द हाइड्रोस्टैटिक फोर्सेस एंड द कोलॉइड ऑस्मोटिक फोर्सेस. सो स्टार्लिंग फोर्सेस क्या हैं? हाइड्रोस्टैटिक and colloid osmotic forces which determine the movement of fluid through a capillary membrane. So if you do not remember what hydrostatic forces and colloid osmotic forces are, let me remind you. So let's first study कि hydrostatic force क्या होती है. What is the hydrostatic force? It is the force applied by blood or fluid when it moves through the capillary, and it is the force which is applied on the capillary wall. So what happens is, as you already know, that your capillary has small pores in its walls, and when blood moves with force through this vessel, some of the fluid is leaked out of the fluid out of the vessel into the interstitial space. So this is this filtration or leaking of fluid from the blood vessel outside into the interstitial space due to the sheer force of movement of blood is known as the hydrostatic pressure. इसकी एग्जाम्पल आप ऐसे ले सकते हैं कि if you have a straw, you punch small holes into it, and now you try to move water forcefully through this pipe. A lot of the water would leak out of the small holes in the straw, and the more force you apply with the more the water would leak out. So hydrostatic force को आप इस तरह याद रख लें कि it is the force with which the blood is flowing in the capillaries. जितनी ये force ज़्यादा होगी उतना fluid leak होकर बाहर मूव करेगा from the capillaries into the interstitial space. So this force pushes the water out of the capillaries. Let's have a look at the colloid osmotic force or colloid osmotic pressure. From your previous knowledge, you might remember that osmotic pressure is the pressure exerted by water when it moves across a semi-permeable membrane from a region of lower concentration of solutes to a region of higher concentration of solute. इसको समझने के लिए हम एक simple experiment जो है वो conduct कर सकते हैं कि if you take a tub और उसके अंदर अगर आप 2 लीटर्स पानी डाल दें और इसके दरमियान में एक आप मेम्ब्रेन लगा दें जो कि सेमी परमिएबल है. सेमी परमिएबल किस तरह है कि इसमें से वाटर तो मूव कर सकता है लेकिन कोई और सॉल्यूट मूव नहीं कर सकता. अब अगर आप एक साइड पर सॉल्यूट ऐड कर दें, सपोज ये सॉल्यूट कोई भी हो सकता है, दिस कैन बी सॉल्ट और एनी काइंड ऑफ प्रोटीन और एनीथिंग जो कि इम्परमिएबल है और मूव नहीं कर सकता अक्रॉस दिस मेम्ब्रेन. थोड़ी देर बाद आप देखेंगे दैट वाटर मूव फ्रॉम दिस साइड टूवर्ड्स दिस साइड. दिस इज़ बिकॉज द सॉल्यूट विच इज़ प्रेजेंट ऑन दिस साइड ऑफ द impermeable membrane attracts the water from the opposite side, pulls it towards itself. So this is the concept of osmotic pressure which is exerted by solutes which are unequally distributed. अब इसके लिए आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि जो एक प्री रिक्विजिट या ज़रूरी शर्त क्या है इन इक्वल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ सॉल्यूट्स. तो हम अपनी बॉडी में इसको कैसे अप्लाई कर सकते हैं? यू रिमेंबर दैट कैपिलरीज कैरी प्रोटीन्स, but the pores of the capillaries are too small to allow these proteins to move outside. So proteins are present in larger quantities within the capillaries as compared to the interstitial fluid, and the capillary membrane is a semi-permeable membrane or impermeable to proteins. Now these proteins which are present within the capillaries will act as sponges and try to attract water towards them. ठीक है, so colloid osmotic pressure is exerted by any solute which is impermeable to a membrane, and it tries to attract or pull water towards itself. So as a general rule आप ये याद रखें कि हाइड्रोस्टैटिक प्रेशर जो है वो वाटर को पुश करता है, जबकि कोलॉइड ऑस्मोटिक प्रेशर वाटर को पुल या अट्रैक्ट करता है. So keeping this basic concept in your mind, let's dive into the concept of Starling forces and what are the two types of hydrostatic pressure, what are the two types of colloid osmotic pressure, and how they affect the movement of fluid across a capillary membrane. तो अब आप ये याद रखें कि हाइड्रोस्टैटिक प्रेशर जो है वो फ्लूइड का प्रेशर है जो कि वाटर को पुश करेगा, और कोलॉइड ऑस्मोटिक प्रेशर जो है वो प्रोटीन्स का प्रेशर है जो कि वाटर को अपनी तरफ अट्रैक्ट करेगा या एब्जॉर्ब करेगा. तो वो फ्लूइड जो कैपिलरी के अंदर मौजूद है वो कैपिलरी हाइड्रोस्टैटिक प्रेशर प्रोवाइड करेगा. वो फ्लूइड जो बाहर इंटरस्टिशियल स्पेस में मौजूद है वो इंटरस्टिशियल हाइड्रोस्टैटिक प्रेशर अप्लाई करेगा. द प्रोटीन्स विच आर प्रेजेंट विद इन द कैपिलरीज विल प्रोवाइड कैपिलरी ऑस्मोटिक प्रेशर, and the proteins which are present outside the capillary will provide a pressure which is known as interstitial colloid osmotic pressure. इस concept को हम आगे better study करते हैं with the help of figures and diagrams. So there are total 4 Starling forces. The first 2 of them are hydrostatic and 2 of them are colloid osmotic forces. First we are going to study the first hydrostatic force. It is the force of blood present within the capillaries. So the force with which blood moves within a capillary is known as capillary hydrostatic pressure or capillary pressure, and it is denoted by PC. As I mentioned before that hydrostatic pressure is a pushing force. So this force tries to push water outside from the capillary into the interstitial space. So it is an outward force. You have to remember this, that capillary hydrostatic pressure is an outward force. As you know that a capillary has 2 ends. One end is known as the arterial end and the distal end is known as the venous end. So at the arterial end the hydrostatic pressure is around 30 millimeter mercury, and at the venous end this pressure reduces to around 10 millimeter mercury. और अगर हम इसका मीन या एवरेज लें तो रफली वी कैन से दैट द कैपिलरी हाइड्रोस्टैटिक प्रेशर इज़ अराउंड 17.3 millimeter mercury. So beta, you have to remember these values. These values are very important. The capillary hydrostatic pressure at the arterial end is 30 millimeter mercury. The capillary hydrostatic pressure at the venous end is 10 millimeter mercury, while the average is 17.3 millimeter mercury. Now let us move on to the second hydrostatic force. It is the interstitial fluid hydrostatic pressure. It is the hydrostatic pressure which is exerted by the fluid which is present in the interstitial space. As I mentioned before that most of the fluid in the interstitial space is in the form of gels and only 1% is free fluid. And as I mentioned before that a hydrostatic force is always a pushing force. So what should happen here, that the fluid which is present in this place, the interstitial fluid, it should try to push itself into the capillary. So it should be an inward force. बेटे एज आई मैंशन बिफोर, इनवर्ड का मतलब है मूविंग इनटू द कैपिलरी एंड कॉजिंग रीअब्जॉर्प्शन. आउटवर्ड का मतलब होता है टू मूव फ्रॉम द कैपिलरी इनटू द इंटरस्टिशियल स्पेस, एंड दिस इज़ नोन एज फिल्ट्रेशन. ठीक है. So coming back to the concept of interstitial fluid pressure, I told you that there is some fluid which is present in the interstitial space, and the force which this fluid exerts is known as hydrostatic pressure. And since I told you before that hydrostatic force is a pushing force, so ideally it should try to move this interstitial fluid into the capillary and cause reabsorption of fluid. But what actually happens is that there is always present lymphatic vessels in the interstitial space. What is the function of these lymphatic vessels? These lymphatic vessels act like pumps. What they do is they carry this interstitial fluid away in the lymphatics in the form of lymph. ये क्या करते हैं, ये यहाँ पे एक सक्शन पंप का काम करते हैं और ये सक करते रहते हैं लिम्फेटिक्स को, एंड दे कीप मूविंग देम अवे. दे एक्ट लाइक स्ट्रॉज which are always present and sucking at this interstitial fluid and taking it away. Because of this suction effect of lymphatics, there is always a slight negative pressure present in most parts of the interstitium. ठीक है. ड्यू टू लिम्फेटिक्स एंड कंटिन्यूस सक्शन ऑफ लिम्फेटिक वेसल्स ऑफ द इंटरस्टिशियल फ्लूइड, देयर इज ऑलवेज अ स्लाइट negative pressure present in most parts of your circulatory interstitium. And what this tends to do, it tends to pull water from the capillaries towards the interstitium. So as I mentioned before, that interstitial fluid pressure can both be positive and negative, but in most spaces, especially where there are lymphatics present, this force is mostly outward, and it provides a suction, and it causes filtration of fluid from the capillary into the interstitial space, and mostly this force is around -3 millimeter mercury. So in most parts of the body this is an outward force. कुछ जगहों पर ये एज एन इनवर्ड फोर्स एक्ट करती है, जहाँ पर लिम्फेटिक्स जो हैं वो इस तरह फ्रीली प्रेजेंट नहीं होते, और ख़ासतौर पे वो ऑर्गन्स जिनके इर्द गिर्द कैप्सूल होता है और उनकी एक अपनी क्लोज्ड स्पेस होती है, लाइक इन किडनी एक्सेट्रा. लेकिन बाकी जगह पर, बाकी तमाम पार्ट्स ऑफ सर्कुलेशन में यहाँ पर लिम्फेटिक्स मौजूद होते हैं. वो हर टाइम पे सक्शन कर रहे होते हैं, इंटरस्टिशियल फ्लूइड को यहाँ से सक करके लेकर जा रहे होते हैं, जिसकी वजह से यहाँ पर एक स्लाइट नेगेटिव प्रेशर मौजूद होता है, और ज़्यादातर जगहों पर इंटरस्टिशियल फ्लूइड प्रेशर जो है वो नेगेटिव होता है, एंड इट कॉजेज़ फिल्ट्रेशन एंड नॉट रीअब्जॉर्प्शन. Since now we have covered both of the hydrostatic forces, the hydrostatic force of the capillary and the hydrostatic force of the interstitium, let us now move on to two colloid osmotic forces. Colloid osmotic force, जैसे कि मैंने आपको पहले mention किया है, is exerted by proteins, and it is a force which pulls water, which sucks or attracts water. Since proteins are like sponges, they try to soak up water. So let us first study the plasma colloid osmotic pressure. This is the pressure exerted by proteins present within the capillary walls. These proteins are so large in size that they cannot cross the small pores of the capillary wall, and they cannot move from the capillary into the interstitium. They are stuck within the capillary wall, and what they do is they try to suck water from the interstitium and try to pull it into the capillary. So the plasma colloid osmotic pressure, that is the pressure exerted by proteins within the capillaries, is an inward force, and it is denoted by pi p. the capillary plasma colloid osmotic pressure is denoted by pi p, and it is due to the presence of proteins in the capillaries which cannot cross the capillary wall. They stay within the capillaries and they try to suck water from the interstitium into the capillary and cause reabsorption of fluid. So the force with which these proteins absorb water is 28 millimeter mercury. 28 millimeter mercury. So now let us move on to the interstitial fluid colloid osmotic pressure. It is denoted by pi if, and it is exerted by small number of proteins which are present in the interstitium. Some capillaries have some pores large enough to allow some small proteins to be leaked into the interstitium or interstitial fluid. So the interstitial fluid does have small amounts of proteins. This number of protein is very small as compared to the proteins present within the capillaries. So the very small amount of pressure that these proteins exert is around 8 millimeter mercury. एंड एज ए मैंशन बिफोर कि प्रोटीन्स जहाँ भी प्रेजेंट होंगी वो वहाँ पर स्पंज की तरह करेंगी एंड दे विल ट्राई टू सक वाटर और पुल वाटर टूवर्ड्स दैम. सो व्हेन प्रोटीन्स आर प्रेजेंट इन द इंटरस्टिशियल स्पेस दे ट्राई टू पुल वाटर फ्रॉम द कैपिलरी इनटू द इंटरस्टिशियल स्पेस with a force of 8 millimeter mercury, and this is known as the interstitial fluid colloid osmotic pressure. Since the amount of proteins is very small as compared to the proteins in the plasma in the capillary, so the force is also very small. जो यहाँ पर 28 millimeter mercury थी वो यहाँ पर सिर्फ 8 millimeter mercury है. So let's have a review at the end. We have two hydrostatic forces, one hydrostatic force of the capillary and one hydrostatic force of the interstitium, and we have two colloid osmotic forces due to proteins, one plasma colloid osmotic pressure in the capillaries and one interstitial fluid colloid osmotic pressure in the interstitium. Out of these, the hydrostatic force is a force which forces water outside towards the outside of the capillary, यानी कि ये filtration कराती है of fluid from the capillaries towards the interstitium. Then the proteins which are present within the capillary try to reabsorb water, and the proteins which are present in the interstitial space try to cause filtration of water from the capillaries into the interstitial space. And as I mentioned before, that the interstitial fluid pressure in most parts of your body is negative because of the suction of lymphatic vessels, which are always sucking the fluid from the interstitium into the lymphatic vessels, and this negative pressure tries to pull water from the capillaries into the interstitial space and causes filtration. Body में बहुत कम जगहों पर, like in kidney, this suction is not present, and this force is positive and it tries to push water into the capillary. पर यहाँ पर ऐसा नहीं होता. In most places in your body, this interstitial fluid pressure is negative and it tries to cause filtration. So these are the four forces which are at play, and these four forces are known as Starling forces, and the balance between these forces will decide if the fluid will move out of the capillary or move into the capillary. So the sum of these four forces is known as net filtration pressure, or NFP. It is the sum of these four forces. The forces which cause filtration or which are outward forces will have positive signs, and the forces which cause reabsorption will have negative sign. So if the sum of these four forces is positive, there will be overall filtration of fluid from the capillary into the interstitial space. If the total sum of these four forces is negative, then a total net fluid reabsorption will take place, yani fluid will move from the interstitial space into the capillaries. So this is known as a net filtration pressure, and it is the sum of all forces, and it will determine if the fluid will move inwards towards the capillaries or outward towards the interstitial space. So these Starling forces, these four forces or their sum, which is known as the NFP or net filtration pressure, is not the only thing which will determine the amount of filtration that will take place. There is another important factor which determines that how much filtration will take place, and this is known as the capillary filtration coefficient, and it is denoted by Kf. Now what is Kf? Kf is basically the product of two things: total number of capillaries which are present in that area, and the number and size of pores in each capillary. इन दोनों के प्रोडक्ट को KF या कैपिलरी फिल्ट्रेशन कोफिशिएंट कहते हैं, एंड इट इज़ multiplied by the net filtration pressure to determine the total filtration that will take place. So what are the two factors which determine the total filtration? One is the net filtration pressure जिसमें चारों Starling forces आती हैं, and another is the coefficient, and this coefficient is known as Kf. And what is Kf? It is actually the number of capillaries which are present in that area and the number and size of pores which are present in that capillary. तो इन दोनों का प्रोडक्ट जो है KF का और NFP का will determine कि actually filtration कितनी होगी. So now let us put this knowledge to use and actually calculate the amount of filtration or reabsorption that takes place along a capillary, both at the arterial and at the venous end. So let us first start with the calculations at the arterial end. Suppose this capillary shows the arterial end, and let us add the values which are present at the arterial end, और इन चारों forces की values जो arterial end पे होती हैं वो हम already पहले discuss कर चुके हैं. So we know that the capillary hydrostatic pressure at the arterial end is 30 millimeter mercury. The plasma osmotic pressure is 28 millimeter mercury. The interstitial fluid pressure is negative 3 millimeter mercury, and the interstitial fluid osmotic pressure is 8 millimeter mercury. Both these pressures, the hydrostatic pressures, are due to the force of fluid in the capillary, and both the colloid osmotic pressures are due to the presence of proteins both in the capillary and in the interstitial space. And also, as I told you before, that this pressure in the interstitial space is negative minus 3 millimeter mercury, and the force would lead to filtration. तो अब हम इसको कैलकुलेट करते हैं. जो आउटवर्ड फोर्सेस हैं इनमें से कौन कौन सी फोर्सेस हैं जो कि फिल्ट्रेशन करवा रही हैं, विच वुड कॉज द फ्लूइड टू मूव आउट फ्रॉम द कैपिलरी इनटू द इंटरस्टिशियल स्पेस. So the first one is the capillary pressure. It would cause the fluid to move from the capillary towards the interstitial space with a force of 30 millimeter mercury at the arterial end. Then another force which tends to pull water outwards is the negative interstitial fluid pressure force, and it pulls the fluid outward with the force of minus 3 millimeter mercury. And another force which is going to pull fluid out of the capillary into the interstitial space is the osmotic pressure exerted by the proteins present in the interstitial space, and they would exert a pressure of 8 millimeter mercury. तो अगर इन सबको टोटल किया जाए, सम अप किया जाए, तो the total outward forces at the arterial end are 41 millimeter mercury. अब हम देखते हैं कि इनवर्ड फोर्सेस कौन सी हैं. देर इज़ ओनली वन इनवर्ड फोर्स. इट इज़ ड्यू टू द प्रोटीन्स प्रेजेंट इन द प्लाज्मा इन द capillary within the capillary, and they tend to absorb fluid and suck fluid towards the capillary, and they do this with the force of 28 millimeter mercuries. So the only inward force at the arterial end is the plasma colloid osmotic pressure, and it exerts a force of 28 millimeter mercury. So the total inward force is 28 millimeter mercury. अब हम यहाँ पे देखना चाहते हैं कि यहाँ पर क्या आर्टीरियल एंड पर फिल्ट्रेशन होती है कि रीअब्जॉर्प्शन होती है. अब हम आउटवर्ड फोर्सेस और इनवर्ड फोर्सेस को सम अप करके देख लेते हैं. यहाँ पर आपको नज़र आ रहा है कि द आउटवर्ड फोर्सेस आर ग्रेटर एज़ कम्पेयर टू द इनवर्ड फोर्सेस, सो द फ्लूइड वुड मूव आउटवर्ड. और ये किस फोर्स के साथ आउटवर्ड मूव करेगा? दैट वुड बी 41 minus 28, and that is a total of 13 millimeter mercury. So the fluid would move from the capillary, would filter out of the capillary with a force of 13 millimeter mercury at the arterial end. Now let us see what happens at the venous end. Venous end पे all these forces, all of these forces remain the same, and only one force is different, and that is the capillary hydrostatic pressure, and it is reduced to 10 millimeter mercury from a high value of 30 millimeter mercury, जो कि arterial end पे होता है. blood arterial end से flow करता करता जब venous end पर आता है तब तक इसका प्रेशर 10 मिलीमीटर मर्क्यूरी तक फॉल कर गया होता है. ऑल द अदर थ्री फोर्सेस आर गोइंग टू हैव द सेम वैल्यूज़ as they had at the arterial end. So now let us calculate all the outward and inward forces at the venous end. Again I crossed out this interstitial fluid pressure force, because we all know that due to the lymphatics it is a negative value, minus 3 millimeter mercury, and this will cause suction of fluid from the capillary outward into the interstitial space, यानी कि filtration कराएगा. तो आए अब हम सारी आउटवर्ड फोर्सेस को कैलकुलेट कर लेते हैं. द आउटवर्ड फोर्सेस आर द PC, the PIF and the PIF, and the sum of these forces is 21. The inward forces, same as in the at the arterial end, are only provided by the plasma colloid osmotic pressure, and the value is around 28 millimeter mercury. So the total force of filtration or reabsorption can be calculated by calculating the sum of the outward forces and the inward forces. As you can see that the inward forces are greater at the venous end as compared to the outward forces. So there is going to be a total inward movement of fluid from the interstitial space into the capillary, causing reabsorption, और ये reabsorption 7 millimeter mercury की force से होगी. ठीक है. नाउ इफ़ यू नीड टू रिवाइज के आर्टीरियल एंड और वीनस एंड के ऊपर तमाम वैल्यूज़ वैसे तो सेम होती हैं, एक्सेप्ट द कैपिलरी प्रेशर, जो कि आर्टीरियल एंड पर 30 मिलीमीटर मर्करी होता है और वीनस एंड पर 10 मिलीमीटर मर्करी होता है. इस वजह से जब हम सम करते हैं टोटल आउटवर्ड फोर्सेस को और इनवर्ड फोर्सेस को, आपने बस सिर्फ इतना याद रखना है कि वाहिद इनवर्ड फोर्स, चाहे वो आर्टीरियल एंड हो या वीनस एंड हो, इज़ द प्लाज्मा कोलॉइड ऑस्मोटिक प्रेशर. द ओनली इनवर्ड फोर्स इज़ द प्लाज्मा कोलॉइड ऑस्मोटिक प्रेशर, एंड इट हैज़ अ वैल्यू ऑफ 28 मिलीमीटर मर्करीज. इसके अलावा बाकी तमाम फोर्सेस जो हैं वो आउटवर्ड फोर्सेस हैं और इनकी वैल्यू सेम है, एक्सेप्ट द कैपिलरी प्रेशर फोर्स which is 30 at arterial end and 10 at the venous end. So in a nutshell, arterial end पर filtration होती है और venous end पर जो है वो reabsorption होती है. arterial end पर 13 मिलीमीटर mercury की force से filtration हो रही थी, while at venous end 7 मिलीमीटर mercury की force से reabsorption हो रही है. Now as you can see from this explanation, that the force of filtration at the arterial end is not equal to the force of reabsorption at the venous end. यानी कि जितना fluid filter होगा out of the capillary at the arterial end is not reabsorbed back into the venous end of the capillary. So where does this fluid go? This fluid is carried away from the interstitial space by the lymphatics and it forms the lymph. जितना भी ये फ्लूइड बाहर फिल्टर होकर रह जाता है और वापस रीअब्जॉर्ब नहीं होता, दैट फॉर्म्स द लिम्फ. इट इज़ कैरिड अवे बाय द lymphatic vessels and it is again poured back or added back into the circulation, so no net loss of fluid takes place. So now that you have understood what happens at the arterial end of the capillary and what happens at the venous end of the capillary, there is not much difference in other values. The only value that differ is the capillary hydrostatic pressure, which is higher at the arterial end and lower at the venous end. Other than this value, all other values remain the same. So now let's move on to the another concept, which is the Starling's equilibrium. It was proposed by Ernest H. Starling, who was a scientist who believed that there is no great difference between the forces which act at the arterial end and which acted at the venous end. He proposed that the arterial and venous forces were almost at an equilibrium. So why calculate the filtration forces separately at arterial and venous end? Why not use an average value and calculate the average forces that acted along the capillary? So instead of calculating filtration forces at any one end of the capillary, either arterial or venous, what Ernest H. Starling proposed was that let's use average values and calculate the filtration forces along the whole length of the capillary, since there is no great difference between the arterial forces and the venous forces. So this question is very important. It is often asked in your test exams, in your profs, that define the Starling equilibrium. So when you are asked about Starling equilibrium, you are going to calculate this formula with the average value of capillary hydrostatic pressure. But remember, if you are being asked what happens at the arterial end, then this value will be 30. If you are asked what happens at the venous end, then this value will be 10. But if you are asked to write a note on Starling's equilibrium, then the value you are going to use for capillary hydrostatic pressure is going to be an average value of both arterial and venous values, and that is 17.3 millimeter mercury. So now let us calculate the Starling equilibrium forces. We are going to do it the same way we calculated the forces at the arterial end and at the venous end, but instead we are going to use an average value for the capillary hydrostatic pressure. So let's determine the outward forces first. As you already know that there are three outward forces. The first one is the capillary pressure. It is around 17.3 millimeter mercury, and it is the average of hydrostatic pressure along the whole length of the capillary and not just at one end. The second outward force should be the interstitial fluid colloid osmotic pressure, and it is around 8 millimeter mercury. The third outward force is the interstitial fluid pressure, and as I mentioned before, it is a negative value because of the suction due to lymphatics, and it should be an outward force, and it will pull the water out of the capillary into the interstitial space. So the third and last outward force is the interstitial fluid hydrostatic pressure, and its value is -3. Now let us calculate the inward forces, and as I told you before, there is only one inward force, which is the plasma colloid osmotic pressure, and it is a total of 28 millimeter mercury. Now to see if there is a total filtration or reabsorption in this capillary according to Starling's equilibrium. We have to calculate the net filtration pressure. We are going to subtract the inward forces from the outward forces and see what value we get. So the net filtration is outward forces minus the inward forces. So it is 28.3 minus 28. We get a value of 0.3, and since the outward forces were greater, so we know that there is a resultant outward movement of fluid from the capillary into the interstitium with a total force of 0.3 millimeter mercury. So this slide is going to sum up the Starling equilibrium, which we studied in the previous slide. According to Starling equilibrium, there is a state of near equilibrium in most capillaries. So the amount of fluid which is filtered at the arterial end is almost balanced by the amount of fluid reabsorbed at the venous end. Here I lay special emphasis on the word almost, because as we see from the calculation, the outward forces are not exactly equal to the inward forces. There is a slight net filtration which causes the fluid to move out and to be filtered with a force of 0.3 millimeter mercury. So this causes a slight imbalance and results in the filtration of fluid, which means that not all of the fluid which was filtered is reabsorbed. Small amount of fluid which was filtered is left behind, and this fluid forms the lymph and is taken away by the lymphatic vessels. This net filtration pressure of 0.3 millimeter mercury results in filtration of 2 mL of fluid per minute. So now you know that the net filtration pressure of 0.3 millimeter mercury results in filtration of 2 mL per minute fluid. Can you calculate the filtration coefficient Kf with these given values and this information? Kindly leave your answer in the comment section with your roll numbers to mark your attendance. Thank you.